Hi, I am Dr. Sabrina Dent, and I'm going to talk to you about the topic Reimagining Religious Freedom as a Social Justice Issue. Most times, when people hear the words religious freedom, they think about the First Amendment. They think about the right to practice freely one's religious beliefs or to exercise their freedom of conscience without government interference or without discrimination, which is true. But too often, people fail to understand that the issues of church state separation are not as clear cut as people would like for them to be. So, one of the things you have to consider is that looking at the history of religious freedom in this country, religious freedom in this country was not extended to blacks, indigenous people, Latinos, and those that were a part of many different religious identities that involved ethnic identities as well. We have to think back to history that reminds us that enslaved Africans were not extended the opportunity to practice their traditions. And we know that 30% of enslaved Africans identified as Muslim. There were also those that practiced African spirituality, such as the Yoruba tradition and even Coptic Christianity. But these individuals were ripped from their homelands, from their communities, from their tribes, where they had many different religious beliefs and ways of life. They were stripped of those cultures and brought here to the United States and dispersed to many different continents, including the Caribbean and Asia. They were separated from their families without the right to exercise their freedom. So, what it means to reimagine religious freedom is to reimagine the complex politics of race and religion here in the United States that has too often shaped public policies as it pertains to who has the right to live, who has the right to be human, who has the right to freedoms, and who has the right to practice their beliefs or not. There's so many complexities that come with this topic. And in today's context, what that looks like is re-examining the role of religion as it pertains to public policies. What does it mean for a woman to have full autonomy of her body without someone placing their religious beliefs or ideologies onto them? What does it mean to have access to not just reproductive care, but health care, affordable health care, and accessible health care that is adequate so that the maternal mortality and infant mortality rates among Black and Latino communities are decreased? There's so many different ways in which we need to think about religious freedom. That's not just limited to the historical narrative about church-state separation, because we have to remember that both the church and the state played a major role in the enslavement of Africans. So reimagining religious freedom as a social justice issue looks like critically examining the narratives that have often been told from a white, male, Christian, heterosexual narrative that have often left out Black, Latino, indigenous people, LGBTQ individuals, and women. Our stories are important and they must be told. One of the ways in which you can learn more is to check out the book African Americans and Religious Freedom, written by my colleague Dr. Corey D.B. Walker and 9 of our other friends that take a look through essays at what it means to be African in America, as a Black American. What are our experiences historically and even today? There's so much more that we can learn about this, but we have to take into consideration the narratives of marginalized communities. So that's racial and religious minority communities that often get left out of the narratives. So I encourage you today to take some time to learn more about religious freedom and how it is a social justice issue that impacts voting rights, environmental justice, reproductive freedom, and our right to have access to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I think the founders may have needed to expand their definition, and I hope that you will too. Take care.